City of Southfield for Monday, April 22nd. Ms. Banks, if you call the roll.
Thank you. Ms. Seymour? Present. Mr. Moss?
Present.
Mr. Lamb? Ms. Jordan is excused for this meeting. Mr. Fraser?
Here.
Mr. Kirkowski? Not here. Mr. Stiver? You have 5 members present.
We have one item on this agenda, that's the reconstruction of Evergreen Road right-of-way, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Charette.
Yes, in turn, I'll be turning it over shortly to the city attorney's office to explain this to us. But just in general, there are 2 ways to accomplish this objective. It is absolutely necessary for us to proceed with the reconstruction of Evergreen Road. So this is yet another signal that we're very serious and this reconstruction can happen. This could be by either eminent domain or by an agreement worked out between the parties. We have an agreement worked out. There's some fine points yet to be determined, but the dollars are acceptable as an estimate. And so with that, I would suggest that the board can take over and explain to us the details of that.
Okay, so in conjunction with the 2 roundabouts, we need both a temporary construction easement and we need some right-of-way. The one down by Town Center, that one's being still worked on. This one over now, right at Civic Center and Evergreen, has been completed. The owner of the property is the 5,000 at Town Center, Inc., which is the condominium association. The city's been working primarily with Mr. Peterson and their attorney on behalf of that group. In lieu of actually purchasing the right-of-way and purchasing the temporary construction easement, the condominium association was more interested in landscape improvements to their property in the area where this roundabout's going to occur, also some hardscape kind of things, pathways and things like that. And so that's what's occurred the last several months, where there's been discussions going back and forth between the city and that homeowners association, the condominium association, to try to see if there could be a resolution worked out. And in fact, there has been. In terms of what landscaping, what kind of landscaping they want, what the city would agree to, it's approximately $90,000 worth of landscaping and hardscaping. In exchange for that, we would get the right-of-way that we need. Temporary construction easement, again, is just while the construction is occurring, because it's almost a given that when you're in there constructing, you're going to be on their property a little bit, and then when we're done, we won't own that property. It'll go back to them, and we have to restore it to its original condition. So this was to give you an opportunity to look at it before it went on to the consent agenda tonight. If you were so inclined, it would also give them, the mayor and clerk, the authorization to sign these agreements on behalf of the city. So, in substance, that's what these documents would be.
Mr. Moss?
Does something similar come back to us when we talk about that?
Yeah, you'll see that. That's still in the works. I know Gary Tressel's here. They've been working on that on behalf of the city, but there will be documents. That property sold recently, and so it's been a little bit difficult because the owners have changed, and so that was probably a little bit behind this one. But that one could be money too. They may not want landscaping. It could be an actual payment for the right-of-way. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, there will be something coming back on that one too.
Okay.
Also, this provides us just so if the roundabout never happens, if the project doesn't happen, or we end up not doing roundabouts, we're just going to go with a straight, intersection, a T intersection, then these agreements would be null and void, especially the right-of-way, because that was in connection with the roundabout. Okay. So that's built in here.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Fraser?
Yeah, in the design, the supposed design of the roundabout, how much closer to the 5,000 Town Center does the road or the easement?
This will be a Mr. Trestle question.
Approximately 15 to 20 feet.
15 to 20 feet? But that still gives them plenty of time, or plenty of room to for sidewalks and all without crowding the building or the people.
Yeah, yeah, so what's happening is you're gonna have a little pocket park kind of on the corner with benches and seats and trash receptacles, and the vertical grade is different, so we have to put a little wall in the back that'll become a little bench if somebody wants to sit down and rest.
Okay. Second thing is, I know that when we've had the Heart Walk, there's been at least one person that complains about can't get in and out of 5,000 Town Center, or it's a little more difficult to get in and out. When this construction is going on, it's going to be, really tied up. So I presume that someone from 5,000 Town Center will be talking to the residents there, saying that it's going to be tough. So.
Yeah, I'm assuming that there would be, and I don't even know that they've, I don't know that they've had their full meetings yet. So, there still could be a little bit of tweaking of language here and there, but I certainly assume Mr. Peterson, as being the president of that group, would have those conversations. Okay,
because, next thing you know, it gets in the paper and we're the bad guy, and especially if someone doesn't like a roundabout, so.
I noticed that Mr. Peterson has communicated to his residents about the repaving of their driveway. So a lot of it is just if you know that you're going to be inconvenienced, when you are surprised.
Yeah.
Or feel trapped. Mr. Lamb.
I don't remember too much about the roundabout. Where is the roundabout going to be?
They're going to go at both entrances to the Civic Center site, both of those driveways. So right at Civic Center here, and then right on this entrance, on the north entrance. And those will both be roundabouts instead of traffic lights. Those will be roundabouts.
I don't like roundabouts. I've experienced danger going up to Rochester and other places. You get killed. The drivers are speeding going on the other turning around.
Yeah, I know that, the only thing I know is that it was part of the federal grant. If the roundabouts were included, then it was something that they were more inclined to look at favorably in terms of the grant. And I know Mr. Zorn could speak to the roundabouts, but I know that was a key component of the FHWA.
Well, how can they do it without testing us here?
We had several presentations on this, Mr. Lamb, about the roundabouts. This is not new. We've talked about this several times.
Well, I'm only one, so if you kill people, I'm going to care, but I won't care.
Part of it is it's an education process, learning how to navigate a roundabout. They actually keep traffic moving so that you're not, we've all stopped at lights and there's no cars coming, but we have to sit there because it's red. And this is a way to keep traffic moving. Even if there are cars, you're still moving, and it's a traffic calming device. It's actually been proven to be safer.
Where was it proven to be safe? You got paper on it?
This is what was presented by the building the engineering department to us sometime back. Because we had this discussion.
Where did our building department get all the experience to state that it's safer?
I'm only telling you what we were told at our council meeting.
Well, I don't believe everything I'm told,
Well, for good reason.
I have to see impact statements, I have to see proof, and there's none here.
Well, the impact statements are more side swipes than at the regular ones. The impacts are T-bones.
Thank you for that. You're improving the situation. Anyhow, may I go to Mr. Moss if you're finished?
No, you don't finish.
Okay, but your comments are duly noted. I'm not making light of them.
Yeah, I kind of even want to expand on what Mr. Lane said. I think it is worth kind of discussing roundabouts, because we don't have them in our community, and discussing some of the impact, and not necessarily here at this table, but in the future at a town meeting, because there's some elements about it that I'm curious about, because I can't remember who it was, but somebody had brought to me about that there's a difficulty of making them ADA compliant, in that, people who have disabilities in crossing the crosswalks have difficulties. I think, from my recollection at Michigan State, there are roundabouts all over the place, the city constructed signs specifically that said, you know, you have to yield to pedestrians.
Right,
So I
right.
don't know if that's part of, on us to make sure that we're compliant, or if that's part of the whole construction,
I
in
think
terms of this
that-
federal
Don't
grant.
think about the
Absolutely.
state, the Michigan State roundabouts. We all agree that those are the older examples.
Yeah.
But even the ones on Maple have those signs now.
Right,
But one of them has
and you're correct,
traffic.
there was litigation regarding the ADA,
Yeah.
Burns, the AG candidate.
Right, Richard Bernstein, that's who it was.
And a lot of that, Gary, you could speak to the mitigation, that,
And in that particular case, which was on Maple, west of Orchard Lake Road, in his case, there was some handicapped people that they ended up putting a hawk, what they call a hawk system. And the hawk system is an audio-visual system that when a handicapped person comes up to cross the roundabout, they can push it and it stops everybody entering on all lanes.
Is that standard now for all roundabout
It's not
construction?
standard, and it's about $1 million additional to every roundabout.
Wow.
the feds are still weighing in on it. When you read the stuff from the National Highway Administration, how that ends up being handled at the national level is gonna be wrestled with. They're perceived as being much safer. There's no doubt that the abundance of roundabouts in Michigan is because there's a larger money for safety projects. And we are so desperate for road funding, people are accessing these new, innovative safety projects as a way to get the road project funded. And that's in essence what Southfield did.
Yeah.
Council approved this back in February of 2009, and had we not had the roundabout funding, this would probably be out on the list for another 3-4 years.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the roundabouts, but I think it would help this body if we had a bigger, broader discussion, just because it's a new intersection, it's a new type of intersection in our city. So I agree with Mr. Lance that a further discussion on it
And
is needed.
I would envision that we use Cable 15, the same videos we showed council on how they work. So with this project, there are two things, is we're likely to have Evergreen between 8 and 9, and Evergreen 9, 10 to 11 under construction next year. Staff, we've been discussing that we'd like to have a project liaison, kind of a customer service person, and then there's going to be an education piece on this. The National Highway Administration has videos that we can work with Cable 15 on, and there is an education component too.
Okay. All right, Ms. Seymour was next, and then Mr. Lamb.
Thank you. Do I understand there are no lights? This does away with the traffic lights? Is that the idea? I hadn't heard that before.
There's no lights.
Okay. I was going to say, and Mr. Zorn just spoke to this, without the roundabouts, the federal funding would not be available, because they want the safety feature, or what they perceive to be the safety feature. This isn't as large or as busy a road as typically, from what I understand. It's not a main road where you normally would expect to have a roundabout like Telegraph Road if it didn't have the median. It'd probably be a good site for that. So I guess if we want to have the road done, I guess we have to accept them. I'm not fond of the idea because, not for myself, I don't care, but there's so many people that are really leery of them. A lot of people have spoken against them, and but you know what, we want to do the road.
I think it's an education,
Yeah.
really. Once you get used to them.
Well, I've driven in cities literally that have something like that, and with heavy traffic, and a lot of people don't pay attention to the lanes, especially cab drivers.
I got the visual of some cities in Europe.
Well, I can tell you, Mexico City is one, and Boston.
Boston has a lot of them.
Boston.
I'll interject just a second. My parents used to live in Boston, and my dad used to make note of the people who used to get stuck in the roundabout and couldn't make it out. They just went around and around and around.
Well, I have driven in both cities, and the taxi drivers especially, they just go any which way, and that drives everybody nuts. So I don't think we're going to see anything quite that bad, but well, there's pros and cons, let's say.
I go to Rochester, my doctor's in Rochester, live in Roy, near Walton, near Crimson Hospital, there's a roundabout. Well, I think that's the most dangerous roundabout that I ever experienced. Nobody gives way. Nobody up there. And they speed. That's dangerous. So when I get on it, boy, do I take care. I stop until it's clear all the way around, that's when I go. So how could it be, how could the federal government, though, where you get how could they tell us that it's not dangerous? Do they drive it? I doubt it.
Well, statistics,
Well,
crash
they're putting the money
statistics.
behind it. and-
Of course, they would. What do they know? Just like our engineers, the committee, hey, what experience do they have? The local people. Well, I'm just telling you what I know, what I feel.
I appreciate that. Ms. Seymour?
What about that, huh?
Well, it's something that, hasn't come up in discussion. What about bicycle riders? How do they crossing over, what
I've seen
happens?
them with a bike lane. I know you, Mr. Crowe showed us an example someplace else.
I haven't heard about that, but that's, that would be a concern for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It would be,
Want to
yeah.
speak to that?
Well, I think, again, maybe we come back with some graphic materials, educate council, but it will be designed to be safe. It'll be designed to handle pedestrian and bike crossing. And it does eliminate crash, T-bones, which are the most fatal and cause the most damage. And, again, I think it, not only, it's gonna be the smallest scale version of a roundabout than we've seen. We can bring back statistics, and we can bring back graphics. I think it also gives us the ability to do an aesthetic with whether it's sculpture, art, or water fountains or plantings on it as well, so they become part of the public realm with the
I
medium.
think we need some information on bicycles.
I agree. We
Yeah,
can
that's
bring
very
that back
important
for
to
you.
this community.
Just remember, this is just a step in the process.
But in order to give people a comfort level, that's a very important
I agree.
part of our community, especially for seniors.
So, yes, Mr. Fraser, and then I'd like to get a sort of a sense of where we're going, because this is on the agenda for the 7 o'clock meeting.
The one ingredient that we can't plug in, and it takes a different kind of a driver, a different kind of a driving style to use the roundabout. And the one thing that we can't plug in is courteousness. And the rule is, if somebody's in the roundabout, other cars yield to that car.
Like merging on the highway.
That's right.
You don't know who you're drive into.
Right, and if they ignore that, then they can cause accidents and make people nervous about going through.
I've heard plenty of horn blowing
Yeah.
from other people.
Okay, so it's going on 5:30, and we have another meeting, and then another meeting. We will, I'll go around the table here. Do we have your support to put this on the 7 o'clock consent agenda?
Yes.
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 What, the roundabout?
No, it's not about the
The
roundabout.
easement, not the roundabout, it's just the easement.
Town center.
All right, so I have, and I vote yes, so, agree. So we have 5 people in favor. So, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, I believe, and then we'll reconvene immediately for the